Okay, we're ready to bring the jury in the courtroom.
Jury present, all rise.
Please be seated. Okay, other direct examination of this witness.
Once Ms. Bradley and Ms. Kirchner were removed from the vehicle, did you have any direct contact with them?
No.
How long did you remain at the scene before you were able to clear?
Maybe 20, 30 minutes, not long.
After they were
already, yeah.
No further questions?
Okay, cross-examination by the defense.
The vehicle was driver's side down in the ditch,
Passenger side down. It flipped onto the passenger side.
passenger side. Okay. And presumably, best case scenario, when they went in the ditch, they were belted in and hanging by their seats, right?
I don't know how they were. I didn't get a view of them, so I'm not sure.
And, well, if you go into a ditch, you're looking out the driver's window, you're either in a jumbled up mess or you're belted into your seat, one or the other, right?
Sure.
Those are the two options. You think of another option?
I'm sure there's possible other options, but I don't know how they were. I did not get a view of where they were in the vehicle.
And it's pretty easy if you're sitting level to open a vehicle door, right?
Correct.
That would become a little more problematic if you're under it and looking up at the vehicle.
Correct.
That door would come very, you have no leverage, very difficult to push up, right?
Correct.
And eventually they used some object to bust out the back window to allow egress and ingress to the vehicle, right?
I do know they busted out. I'm not sure which window they busted out, but I do know they busted out a window at some point. I think at one point it was a distractionary technique, but...
What did you see the individuals get out of the vehicle?
Yeah, they were eventually removed either from the windshield or from, I believe, the driver's side window where they climbed out.
So if other witnesses testified that they came out the back window where the agents had the paver through that back window. They would be wrong.
I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't know. They had probably a much better view if somebody themselves broke out the window. I did not break out a window, so I'm not sure.
All right, thank you.
Okay, redirect. Okay, sir, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sir, if you'll step up before the clerk to be sworn.
Someone swear from any testimony you shall be able to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay, sir, if you'll please be seated in the witness chair. Once seated, do scoot your chair forward. Do talk into that microphone, adjust that microphone to suit you. Okay, Mr. McMaster.
Good morning. Sergeant,
Yes,
congratulations.
thank you.
Would you please state your name for the record?
Sergeant Jeff Rao,
And how do you spell your last name?
RAU.
Sergeant Rao, if you would, I'm going to ask you a series of questions and direct your responses to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And let's start by telling them how you're employed.
I am currently a sergeant, night watch supervisor for Night Watch Alpha at the Melbourne Police Department
And how long have you been employed with the Melbourne Police Department?
since January 1998.
Any prior law enforcement experience?
I was a security forces member in the United States Air Force since 1991.
Were you employed as a police officer with the city of Melbourne on March 6th of 2012?
Yes, I was.
On that date, did you have an occasion to become involved in the investigation into the shooting of Deputy Barbara Hill of the Warwick County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I did.
Where were you that morning when you first were notified about the case?
I was in my marked patrol vehicle on Wickham Road, approaching O'Galley Boulevard.
And which call was it that you heard first?
The radio call from Officer Smith that said there were shots fired.
And when you heard the dispatch from the transmission from Officer Smith, what, if anything, did you do?
I continued the normal response towards the location. I continued northbound on Wickham Road.
And where did you go?
At that time, I turned left or west on Aurora Boulevard and started heading in a westerly direction.
As you were proceeding toward that area of Turtle Mound and Aurora, were you receiving additional information about the case?
Yes, information was relayed that an officer had been shot.
As a result of that information, what, if anything, did you do?
I activated my emergency lights on my vehicle and proceeded to the area of where the incident took place.
Did you actually go to the Elena Way crime scene?
No, I did not.
Where did you go?
Initially, I went to Turtle Mound and Carrollwood and took up a position.
And how long did you remain there?
Just a few minutes.
And would it help to explain your testimony to the jury if we had a map of the area?
Yes.
Sergeant, if you would you step down here? Oriented with the map. Laura Road, Turtle Mound going north, and Carrollwood coming east. If you would, tell the jury where it was you first went after leaving Wickham Road and heading on Aurora.
I initially took a position right here at Turtle Mound and Carrollwood.
Did you remain in your vehicle at that time or did you?
I was on my vehicle.
Did you have stop sticks or anything deployed at that time or just out?
I was just out.
And what happened next?
I got information received that the suspect vehicle may have been inside the vehicle here. So I moved my position to Carrollwood and Carrollwood.
And what did you do at that position?
And that I blocked this intersection here, and again I got out of my vehicle and it was the suspect.
Had you attempted to get stop sticks or anything at that time?
I did have stops in my vehicle.
Did you remain? at that location?
Yes.
How long a period of time?
5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes.
Were you subsequently, or did you, at some point, you were notified that the vehicle had been spotted?
That's correct.
And where was your understanding of where it was spotted?
It was somewhere back in this part of the neighborhood. I'm not exactly sure what time.
What happened after you had heard that the vehicle had been spotted?
I just, again, what's close to my attention was general direction here.
Did there come a time that you actually observed the vehicle?
Yes.
Where was it?
It was approaching my direction, carry with.
Was it being followed at that point by anybody, or was it just on its own?
Initially, when I saw it, just finished, it was on its own.
And was the Park County Sheriff's Office helicopter in the area at this point?
I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking at.
Okay. Tell us what happened after you spotted it coming towards you and Gary.
As the vehicle approached my position here, I deployed the stop stick in the roadway. In that position, the vehicle drove into the grass on the inside portion here, continued eastbound down the road.
So the vehicle was able to drive around your stop sticks?
That's correct.
Did you take any other action to try to stop the vehicle at that point?
No.
Was your weapon?
I had my weapon out after I deployed my stop stick.
Did you give any verbal commands to the drivers?
I didn't take it.
Were you dressed as you are today, except for the sergeant's insignia?
I had a class B uniform, which is the closest.
He was a full uniform, gun belt, badge the entire time.
That's correct.
And with your patrol car blocking the intersection, did you have your lights activated? Did the vehicle stop for you?
It did not.
Even slow down?
No.
What did you do after the vehicle passed you?
I notified to the response to here that the vehicle was approaching the location and my stop stick back in my truck.
Now, as the vehicle came up to you and then swerved around into the yardway to avoid the stop sticks, were you able to observe the occupants of the vehicle?
Yes.
And were you able to determine the sex and race of the individuals in the vehicle?
Yes.
How many people were in the vehicle? What would you people that you observed?
There was a black male driver and a white female passenger.
I didn't have a seat again, sir. Sergeant, after the vehicle passed you and avoided the stop sticks, what did you do?
I put my stop sticks back in my trunk and I proceeded to go to the location that I last observed the vehicle.
Okay, and where was that?
It had taken a left turn off of Carrollwood onto Turtle Mountain and was heading north on Turtle Mountain.
Were you aware at that point that Sergeant Schaefer was behind the vehicle?
Yes.
And I take it at some point, we've seen in our video, Officer Cooper, now Detective Cooper, was behind Sergeant Schaefer.
I'm not 100% sure about
I
it.
was going to ask how many cars back you were.
I was pretty far back.
Where did you go?
When I got onto Turtle Mountain Boulevard, radio traffic had stated that the vehicle had crashed on Parkway Boulevard.
Okay.
So I proceeded to that location.
I take it at the time that you arrived, other officers were already there guarding the vehicle?
That is
attempting
correct.
to get the occupants out?
That's correct.
And what did you do?
I initially took up a position west of the suspect vehicle. At that point, I was directed to go to the east side to cover that particular area.
And did you remain there until the occupants were ultimately removed from the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any contact with the defendant, Brandon Bradley, at the scene?
I did not.
Any further questions?
Questions by the defense?
You observed Mr. Bradley being insistent on getting back, did you not?
Yes.
And so how would you describe that thing? How steep?
It's a pretty good bank to get up.
How high from the surface of the water to the top of the bank?
4 or 5 feet.
Thank you.
Okay, redirect on behalf of the state. Okay, sir, thank you for your testimony. You're free to step down.
State called Officer Jennifer Amnas.
Ma'am, if you'll step up before the clerk to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear affirm any testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Ma'am, if you'll have a seat in the witness chair. Once seated, if you will scoot that chair forward, do adjust that microphone, do talk into that microphone.
Good. Morning.
Good morning.
If you would, please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
I'm Officer Jennifer Amnas, Amneus.
And Officer Amnas, if you would, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Would you direct your responses to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury? And let's start by telling them how you're employed.
I'm employed with the Melbourne Police Department in Brevard County, Florida.
How long have you been with the Melbourne Police Department?
I've been with Melbourne PD for 7 years.
Any prior law enforcement experience?
No,
And you're in uniform patrol?
I am.
Have you been in uniform the entire 7-year period?
Yes.
Were you so employed on the mid-morning hours of March 6th of 2012?
I was.
And did you have an occasion to become involved in the investigation into the shooting of Deputy Barbara Hill at the Brevard County Sheriff's Office?
I did.
Where were you that day when you were first notified about the call?
I was at Apollo Diner on Hibiscus Boulevard and Park Avenue.
And did you hear the original dispatch about shots fired from the Melbourne officer Smith?
I did.
And what, if anything, did you do when you heard that?
I immediately left where I was at and got in my patrol vehicle to respond to the call.
And where did you go?
I went directly to Lake Washington and Turtle Mound.
And once again, would it help you to explain where you were and what you did when you were there and you were in the map of the area?
Yes.
Orientation, this is Aurora Road coming, turn around going north. All right, when you left the Apollo Diner and got in the area, where did you go?
I took Wickham Road, which would be over here to the east. I took Wickham Road to Lake Washington. I continued west on Lake Washington until I approached Turtle Mound, and I stopped at the intersection on the northwest corner of that intersection.
At that point, you were just helping to set up a perimeter?
I was on a perimeter point, yes, and I was stationed at that intersection.
Had you been directed there by somebody, or did you choose that location?
No, I chose that location just because I saw other officers were going to other points, so I chose on my own.
Were you able to observe anything when you first arrived there?
No.
What happened ultimately?
I stayed there. I couldn't tell you the time frame. And then I know they were searching for the vehicle and the subject, and the next thing I heard was them saying that they had relocated the vehicle and that they were proceeding north on Turtle Mountain. And Sergeant Schaefer said that they were approaching Lake Washington, which is where I was at. So I knew that they were coming my direction.
And were you able to see the vehicle at some point?
Eventually, yes.
What action, if any, did you take to try to stop it?
When I heard that they were northbound on Turtle Mound, I went to the rear of my vehicle and grabbed my stop sticks, and I saw the vehicle approaching northbound to the intersection, and I deployed my stop sticks, and as the vehicle approached the intersection.
And how close was the vehicle when you deployed your stop sticks?
Because of the speed of the vehicle, it was very last minute. I threw my stop sticks and I jumped out of the way of the vehicle.
And what did you estimate the speed of the vehicle to be?
I would say at least 60 miles an hour.
And were you able to determine whether or not the white SUV struck the stop sticks?
He struck. There was another officer who also had stop sticks on the east side of that same intersection. He struck those and he swerved around mine, so he did not strike mine.
Okay. And I think it continued on?
He continued northbound.
As I understand it, there is a four-way stop there at the intersection of Turtle Mound and Lake Washington.
Yes,
Was there any effort made by the white SUV to stop at the stop sign?
not at all.
Go straight through?
Yes.
What, if anything, did you do after the vehicle passed you?
I immediately got into my vehicle. I left the stop sticks in the road. I immediately got into my vehicle and proceeded in the pursuit with the vehicle.
Now, as the vehicle was approaching you, just before you deployed your stop sticks, were you able to view the occupants of the vehicle?
Yes, as the vehicle approached me, I could see that there was a black male driver and a white female passenger as they passed me.
How many police vehicles were behind the white SUV at the point that you were there at the intersection deploying the stop sticks?
I believe 3. I believe I was the 4th one to follow in.
And what happened when you got in your vehicle and started to follow the other 3 police vehicles and the white SUV?
Once I got behind the other vehicles, we proceeded northbound on Turtle Mound to Parkway, which is the next main intersection, and the white SUV attempted to make the turn to go eastbound onto Parkway, but the driver struck the stop sign there at the intersection. At the time, I jumped out of my vehicle because I didn't know if the occupants would be exiting the vehicle, and the vehicle proceeded to then reverse. The occupants did not get out of the vehicle, proceeded to reverse, at which time I jumped back into my vehicle, and the SUV continued eastbound on Parkway, and very shortly after ended up driving off the road on the south side of the road into the culvert, and I positioned my vehicle facing east to where I could take cover from my vehicle.
Did you, along with other officers, attempt to get the occupants to leave the white SUV?
At this time, we got out of our vehicles with our firearms drawn, and we were just waiting, I guess, for more backup initially. Yeah.
How long did you have to remain there before the occupants ultimately were able to be extracted?
I don't recall the exact time frame.
Just in general?
Maybe 15, 20 minutes, maybe at the most.
Did you have any contact with Lieutenant Brandon Bradley while you were there at the scene?
No, I did not.
Further questions?
Okay, questions by the defense? Okay, ma'am, thank you for your testimony. You're free to step down.
Thank you.
Other witnesses?
The state calls Mike Brown from the Clark County Sheriff's Office Aviation.
What's the last name?
Ryan, R-Y-N.
Okay, sir, if you'll step up before the clerk to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, sir, please be seated. And once seated, if you'll scoot your chair forward, do talk into that microphone. It helps us hear your testimony. It also aids in recording your testimony.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
If you would, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. If you could direct your responses to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Let's start by telling them your name and spelling your last name.
My name is Michael Ryle, R-Y-L-E.
How are you employed, sir?
I'm with the Clark County Sheriff's Office.
In what capacity?
I'm a helicopter mechanic, pilot, and observer.
And how long have you been with the...
Okay? Yes, you may.
about where we were. What do you do for the aviation unit with the sheriff's office, sir?
My primary function is mechanic. I'm director of maintenance or in charge of the maintenance. I also fly as pilot. I'm also trained as a tactical flight observer, and I'm an auxiliary deputy.
And tell us about the equipment on the helicopter that the sheriff's office utilizes, particularly with respect to capability for recording images of investigations in your system.
Well, we use a Floor Systems camera. It's an infrared camera and a video camera, and we have the ability to record, obviously, through the video or the infrared camera.
And do you do that on occasion while you're in the helicopter?
Record-wise, on a chase or a pursuit or something that needs to be recorded.
Okay. And on March 6th of 2012, did you have an occasion to participate into the investigation of the shooting of Deputy Harvey Phil?
Yes.
And who was with you in the helicopter?
The pilot was John Coppola.
And what position did you occupy?
I was in the left seat as an observer, or we call it tactical flight officer.
Flight officer?
Yes, sir.
And as a flight officer, would you be responsible for recording any images of anything that you thought would be necessary for court proceedings?
Yes, sir.
And on that day, do you recall where you and Officer Coppola were when you were first notified of the request for assistance?
I don't know if we were notified. He may have been notified, but I was in the hangar. I did speak to John about something, and I walked in our office, and he was on the phone. And I sat at the desk, and he had his pack set, which is a mobile radio, and I remember it was facing away from me, and I heard a conversation on the radio.
That's when you all became involved?
Yeah, I told John, I said, can I explain what I heard?
Without saying what the conversation that you had with Agent or Officer Coppola. Where's the hangar located?
Merritt Island Airport.
That's where the helicopter
Yes, sir.
is basically stationed?
Yes, sir. Well, the aviation unit's based out of Merritt Island Airport.
And what, if anything, did you all do after receiving the information, or Officer Coppola receiving the information about the request for assistance?
Well, we did it at the same time. That's, I heard things on the radio,
Yes.
and so I said, John, are you listening to the radio? And he was on the phone. He says, yeah, I'm listening. So started getting more and more advanced, and when the suspect fled, then I said, I ran out to the helicopter to get the helicopter out, and John was behind me. So if he was called by the comm center, I don't know, because I didn't hear it.
Ultimately, though, you and Officer Coppola did get in the helicopter and attempt to assist in the investigation?
Right after we heard that the suspect fled, we got in the helicopter as fast as possible and came to the scene.
Right. Approximately how long does it take you to get from the Merritt Island Airport to the area that you went to?
If I had to guess, about 7-8 minutes. Maybe possibly a minute or two longer. But
And where did you go first?
we went to the scene of where it happened first, the general location.
On Elena Way?
I believe so.
All right. And what, if anything, did you do after that?
Well, when we arrived on scene, obviously the suspect was...
Objection, unresponsive.
Okay, sustained.
What did you do when you got on scene?
We went to the original location where we were told to go, and we were getting information that the suspect vehicle was no longer there.
Okay.
So it took a few minutes for us to get the information. We started a search grid in the immediate area. The diameter, I don't know. And we received information from Melbourne that the vehicle was last seen on a particular street that we ended up on, which was Carrollwood Street. Well, I'll say it was in that location because they didn't give a street at the time.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you and Officer Coppola do at that point that you received the information that was in that general area of Carrollwood?
Well, we started just a general search for the area. The houses there are on about acre property, if I had to guess. And so we just searched the entire area, probably a square mile or so. We were doing orbits, and we happened to be doing orbits over Carrollwood, searching or trying to find the car.
Did there come a time that you became aware that the units on the ground had spotted the white SUV?
The information I received was, as we were looking for the vehicle, someone...
Objection, unresponsive.
Okay, sustained.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sustained.
Did you subsequently see the vehicle yourself?
We did eventually.
And when you did you activate the camera?
That's when I turned the camera on.
And at my request, did you view CCTV of the helicopter camera images that were captured
Yes.
on the morning of March 6, 2012.
Yes.
Showing you what has been marked for identification as State's Exhibit DK. D is in boy, K. Did you look at that? Tell me if you can identify it.
Yes, I can.
How can you identify it?
Well, I put MR for my initials, and I put M. Ryle, and then ID 605, which is my sheriff's ID number.
So you've looked at that specific DVD,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yes.
And does that exhibit accurately portray the camera images that were captured by the helicopter on the morning of March 6, 2012?
Yes.
Now, the State would move the exhibits to judgment. Exhibit.
Response from the defense?
Okay.
Okay, BK will be state's number 61.
Officer Rowland, in addition to the act, did you film the chase all the way up to the point where the vehicle went into the ditch
Yes.
and actually remained on scene for a period of time after that?
Yes.
Did you also go to the other scenes and capture a little bit of the aerial views of those two crime scenes also, one on Elena Way and the Carrollwood area where
Yes.
the vehicle had been spotted? And those are likewise accurate images of what you saw that day?
Yes.
The State would request permission to publish Exhibit 61 to the jury.
Yes, you may.
Your associate here,
Need Mr. Brown, you're the tech guy.
pretty scary for the tech guy. Couldn't get a 12 of those.
Right.
All right. Coming out on Carrollwood, 335 will be behind you.
Okay, if we could pause it.
You're ordering a vehicle pursuit that makes no know, just let you know. There we go, we got him on 6. I need a second unit, please. Northbound, Pearlbound, coming up to Lake Washington. 13 Lake Washington, you're on Lake Washington? I got him. I get that out of the way. We're Lake Washington, northbound. Coming up to Ottawa. Back to the right behind them, there are 6 back at Carrollwood in Carolina. Hey, Cooper Call, let's just verify this is a single 45 miles per correct? And that's traffic. I got 7 Alright, I'm going to try to pin him once we get up a little bit further here. Stand by. Hey, we're in a vehicle pursuit. Right now we're heading northbound. Yeah, confirm the deputy. Be careful. You're coming to Roger.
And Sergeant, you got distracted just in here, one property deep down. And, yeah, you went right at 700 feet, he's, about 5 miles north of your position. And start to the, everything inside there.
Sorry, you got Parkway, you headed in, Eastern Parkway, please. Very good. All right. No longer going to take over. No longer going to take over. Hey, gotta get somebody in that house over there. The house to the south over there. Get somebody up that driveway. Get someone up that driveway to the house to the south so you can get some position in case you get out of the car going south. Is it like that one on foot? No, but if you can hustle out of that car, you get right into that yard to the south there. Get some officers in that yard. There you go, right down that driveway, keep going eastbound. Don't tower over the cars. You guys got multiple more units coming down Parkway, stand by. To the west.
Start 774, Roger, please, increase.
Hey, somebody coming in out of the bar. Three here, 252. Hey, it sounds like he's trying to kick out the windows or something. Hey, Dick, what's crossfire? You got officers in the backyard to the south, remember that. They have officers in the south, watch for crossfire. Officer on the south side, watch crossfire, back up. Alright, back it down, all units, back it down. Victor 30, all numbered units, back it down. If you're not on scene, everyone just back it down. We got an entry team going in. Radio 1. Radio 1. flashbang out of my truck. 129 right behind you. Cleaver. Get a flashbang out of my truck. Right behind you. 129 on the windshield. KI 11-5 at an hour. Lake Washington Road is to be shut down northbound, no civilian. When you move in? Lake Washington Total now shut down northbound, no civilian. Definitely. You got your main county standing by. That K9's here also. Ready now. You got a real good job. Parkway west of Total Mountain. These should be shut down as well. Farther west is where you guys right now. Take this debris and go farther north. Shut it down farther north. Patrick Airport Base, helicopter 74557. Helicopter 74557. Anyone that's up there for traffic? We are,
And our Parkway, you have there, shut it down?
requesting transit. Parkway, turn around at Parkway, halfway down. When cars turn off at our subdivision.
I am 74557.
All right, he's leaving walking in the car. He just brings it in, he's not coming out with anything.
To the west.
Helicopter 74557. Radio 1, Hey, I'm gonna get a body, break this window. Okay, try and break this. That's the front window warning, Avery. 335, hold on, let me get a rifle over on the other side of you. Hey, any of our guys have a shield? Ask them guys, anybody have a shield? We got a shield. Hey, Schaefer, I have one. It's old school out from 90. Here's what you got. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and take this back window out with this paver. It's not a single 45 when I put that through there. Hey, 94, we've got a good shield. We're coming around with it. Kevin, hold on. Hey, let's get the shield over here. Come around to the other side. You need count that fluid up here.
70 west,
Possibly.
Can I leave a 300 this one?
Just 2, transition is through, back up there on 30. Put like 2 out by the patrol cars on the north side of the road, and bring everybody else around that side. They're serving no purpose on the other side of that car. It's just a bad crossfire. Alright, Jimbo, very clear. Everybody out from around that car, please. 172. Good. That car you're on, clear everybody out from around that, please. Hey, 94, where do you want to go? Never know. Cover behind the train, I've got about 15 feet clear. Windshield, I've got 2 of you. Be looking right at me. take the windows and then somebody bring up the gas up the driveway on the house on the south side of it. We'll move that over to next. And we've got three guys with shotgun shells with gas and barricade rails up to the north. Okay, I got on the phone with his whole body, but it might be able to be injured. We need to move it around the car with it at the end of it. But it's not making any sense to get up and get out of the car. Truck 2, Roger, you got the sheriff's car copy inside down there, 400 feet? Yes, sir, I'll park in front of me, is it? Can we have a vehicle? In here, I thought about. Yeah, thanks, sir, yes. I don't think it's on my bill, I don't know what he's doing, one thing about it, I know it's a parking might not be out here. Why don't you walk through the windows, tap them first, so it's really hard to get a good look at everything. Alright, hey everybody, 1023, Trevor's about to go along to the back window, so when you hear the noise, it's not going to be shots, it's not going to be shots. At this time, the subject has his left hand up against the windshield, he's looking right at me. Hey, 22, when that window, block went there. He jumped, and he went back to it. Okay, don't get coming out of the hole in the ship. Coming out the front of the back, John.
Can't tell. Trees in the way. Trying to give you a little better position.
All right. One coming up, one coming up. Copy, one coming up. Over the middle, take him down right now. Still cover the car. One is down so far, one is down so far. Copy, one is down so far.
On the other side, that's all.
All right, record. Hey, let's see if we can connect this hand and get around here.
Please walk within.
He's advising there's one more female to 12 in the car. I can't see nothing like that.
No, look at the backyard here up the driveway, they're taking them out this way.
All right, one female coming up the side of the car now.
One female coming up.
You got them now?
Know where they at?
Right in that driveway, coming out of the driveway.
What driveway?
That's what it's all. I can't see it all, so.
All right.
You might be able to get up now.
Yeah, I got it. Guys, out of that. Go forward. We're going to put the back window, put the dog in through there.
That work?
Yeah. I can see her zoom in this camera shape. See? Traffic tower, helicopter 74557, request frequency change for Melbourne. Helicopter 74557, frequency. Thank you. Hey, can we get somebody over to the fire truck and get a Haugen tool and bring it up? I got it. 345,000. There's another way. All right, stand by the dog. Once we get another port in this vehicle, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna either record on or turn off.
Leave it on the two machines. I'm going to go to where deputy to get the original crime scene. I can get the video of that too while we're up.
Active pleasure, cover blackmail secure and active 82 car. Active blackmail secure and 82 car. Melbourne, the female we have, and is reporting a seizure. Copy, is it secure for fire rescue? There's a gate up front, so we can't get the gate open. Someone can call in. 3005 is the address.
Turn recorder off. Recorder off.
Begin transfer, TV1. That's one. 10 miles northwest of Melbourne. Top 800. 10-4, thank you. Curtis at 711. John Rose at O'Galley. No, we're home. Thank you, Dan. One over to Max up. That's my after take contact on that. Hello, departure. Yeah, I'm over that signal 32, 171, with 1097 on it. I don't have any type of comment, reference, closure. I'm thinking it's free of golf for the party call. You can go by and check. 1025 was a Robert Harden. 23. 271, give me a call myself. Reference that.
All right, I think I'm done here.
My recording's coming off.
70.
Mike Woody saw some light fire trucks along that fence over there going to the west, out of that driveway over here. That's all we know. That's where the Melbourne officer saw last.
That's cool.
So we don't know how he got where he did from there.
No, that's our left. I wish you got a call. That English mark. I am, and we're actually close to 97 now. Yeah. The bunch was around.
All right.
4 or 5 Bravo's out
The
and...
street that it was picked up on is right over there, the cul-de-sac. When we saw the car, it was about where that patrol car is right there. That's where we saw it. We were on the very came out, and we just caught it coming out onto the street there, just going eastbound that street.
Yes, 405 Bravo to get call myself.
That's where they get his neighborhood towards the south of there.
405 Bravo.
My recording's coming off.
Okay, cross-examination by the defense. Okay, Deputy Ryle, you're free to step down. Thank you. Yes, you may. Okay, at this time, we are going to break for lunch. I'm going to ask you to be back at 1 p.m. Report to the jury assembly room at 1 p.m. Once again, during this break, you must continue to abide by your rules governing your service as a juror. Specifically, do not discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else. Avoid reading newspaper headlines and articles about this trial. Avoid seeing anything that's on TV, the radio, or internet. See or hear anything. And do not conduct any research yourself. Okay, court will be in recess until 1 p.m.
All right.
Okay, please be seated. Mr. Brown, did I miss something?
No, I didn't want the clerk to go off. We do need to clear the firearm. I would do that on the record. Both court deputies were going to be addressing that this afternoon. Witnesses.
Okay, let's do that at 1 p.m. That means we'll be back, and we'll have enough deputies here to do that. I don't think we have enough deputies in the courtroom right now to do that. I mean, do you want to do it now? Okay, then we can do it right now. Okay. But otherwise, court will be in recess until 1 p.m. Why don't you set it out on the table? I do need to make sure a representative from the defense is present. What is it, EE? ED?
Through the seal, it was sealed prior to the time they opened it up and safety equipment.
Okay, I can see that it was sealed prior to the time he opened it up. Okay, the weapon has been cleared, and court is in recess until 1 p.m. Thank you.